Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 58 of our Parenting Autism podcast. You can find us at www.parentingautismshow.com, or if you want to reach out directly to us by email, our email is parentingautism@att.net. And hello, Sandy.
Hey, Annie.
My name is Chris. I'm with Sandy.
Yes, that was quite a mouthful.
Yes.
But we're just trying to introduce with that now so people know how to find us. And we have had more people reaching out to us, so maybe that's very helpful.
Maybe.
So bear with us as we figure out how to smoothly put this in every time. But
right on.
Yeah, so welcome. Here we are. It's been a couple of weeks.
Yes.
And last weekend, we went to the Daytona International Speedway, so we can talk about that a little bit.
That'll be fun.
So that's why we didn't record last weekend.
Yes.
So we have a couple weeks worth of things to talk about.
Hey, let's talk about our winner of the contest giveaway in January.
Okay.
So, of course...
Well, we announced last time.
Yes.
The winner.
Yes.
Larissa. Again, congratulations.
And what did she say?
Well, what the exciting part was that, of course, she didn't know what she was getting, and she was excited that she won. And we had the gift sent directly to her. And after she received it, she sent us a picture of her holding the gift and said that she normally does not enter contests like that, but that she felt like a nudge to do it. And then she said that last year in 2020 was one of the most difficult years that she had had, even from a faith perspective. Mm-hmm. And that she felt like God was nudging her. And then she said, God even said, you're going to win. And she won the contest.
Wow.
Yeah. And
That's
it was
cool.
a book that has really helped me with my faith in the past year. So I know that God wanted her to have that, because it's just like a little daily nugget each day to help. So
that's cool.
Isn't that really cool? I love that we were a part of that.
Yeah. That's exciting. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we have a new friend out there.
I do. Yes, I do. Actually, we are friends on Facebook now.
Cool.
I love connecting with listeners and other mamas, out there that understand my world. So it's cool.
Yeah. So our next contest is going to be a little different. It's going to be a different prize this time. And we are doing it through our Facebook page. So if you search Facebook for Parenting Autism, you'll see us come up. Now we have a group page and a page. So the event is listed on the page.
Like the one where I do my normal posts?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So the group, I don't even know why we have the group. We have a few people in the group, but we have a lot of people on the page. So I guess because that's where you post, is on the page all the time. Yeah. So in any case, I made an event on there for our February giveaway, and all you have to do is go to the Facebook page and click going, and that's it. So what we're going to do is right before our next show, we're going to go in and see who all is going. And we're going to put all those names in a hat, and Bryce is going to come in and draw a name out of the hat on the show live. So
okay. And then I guess we can, if they obviously must be on Facebook, so we can give them a private message letting them know that they won, and then we can get their address and we can go from there.
So for those of you that are not on Facebook, if you want to enter the contest and you're not on Facebook, you can send an email directly to us at parentingautism@att.net, or you can fill out our contact form on our website, which I just mentioned.
Okay.
So
we're just giving another way to enter the contest that might be easier.
Yep.
That's what we were thinking.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people listen to podcasts. Like I know I personally listen with my iPhone. So it'd be easier for me to just hit the Facebook icon in the page and hit attend an event versus trying to find a website maybe I'm not familiar with.
Exactly.
So I get you.
Yeah. So it'll be a little easier.
So we'll see how that goes.
And we're excited.
Yes.
So the drawing will take place on our next show. So be sure to get to our Facebook page and,
so you can,
and click going.
Yeah, so your name can be in the drawing. Sweet. And then we also,
yes.
had asked for some reviews, which we rarely do, but it worked, and we were excited, and we got a couple new reviews.
Yes.
So why don't you read one of those?
Yeah, we got 2 reviews on
Or read both.
iTunes. So the first one is from Chimia, is her username, and it says, "Hi, Chris and Sandy. I listen to your podcast every day whenever I have some time to work around the house and don't have to look after my son. As you may know, autism parents don't have much time. Most of my time at home is to be a therapist to my son." Isn't that the truth, right?
It is the truth.
We just don't have a lot of time. "Your podcasts are my entertainment and learning resource at the same time. My son is on the moderate to severe spectrum, so hearing your stories gives me hope. And I appreciate that you are cheerful and honest in your wins and struggles. I'm an immigrant from Southeast Asia, and it's very hard sometimes to navigate the culture in the U.S. and at the same time advocate for my son strategically. But we're learning and fighting for our son. Your podcasts give us great information and examples on your journey. God bless your family. You have a beautiful hearts. Harry's parents."
That's awesome.
That's pretty special.
Yeah, it is. It is. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Harry's
we appreciate
parents
that.
and Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool.
And on the same exact day, somebody else left us a review.
Okay.
From LivinXM is the username. "I enjoy this podcast so much. I have a 5-year-old boy on the spectrum, and it truly helps me to hear the experiences of other ASD parents. I love that Chris and Sandy are so positive and loving, yet so honest about their struggles. I relate to them and also feel much more at ease in my parenting when I hear that others are having the same thoughts as me. Thank you, Chris and Sandy, for sharing yours and Bryce's story with us."
Nice.
Yeah, that's totally cool.
And that's really why we do it right there, because we don't want people to feel alone, as we have felt alone at times. And it does help when other people can share, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I was thinking that.
When we first started on our journey, we were alone. We had 0 resources, 0 idea what autism was.
Our world was just spinning. But
Roger that.
yeah, and here we are, 5 years later now. Can you believe that? 5 years later, but
Yeah.
we're in a good place. We had a good week. We had a really good week. And I will tell you, the week before that, not so good.
Yeah.
So we don't take them for granted. But we had mentioned on the last podcast that we had gone over some of his new ABA plan, and we were talking about the tantrums, because we're going to be monitoring those now. And you had said maybe we should mark that on our calendar that we have on the refrigerator where we track his supplements. I said, great idea, babe. So we started doing that, and we saw that 2 weeks ago we had tantrum like 2 days in a row. And I mean, and a tantrum for Bryce has to be to a point that he's really to the point of no return. Like, he's going to cry for quite a while until you're able to get his mind to another place, get him on a different track.
He's just going to be so absorbed with it. He's going to be on the floor. He's going to be
he's just
talking
crying.
about it constantly. It's just crazy.
We had that back-to-back, 2 completely different issues going on. And then we went, actually that was a Wednesday and a Thursday. And then on Friday we left and we went to Daytona from Friday to Sunday. He did great when we were there. I mean, great. He really wasn't even obsessed with the doors, the opening and closing doors, which was fabulous.
Yeah.
And he did so well. And then when we came back, he transitioned right back into everything. And there were no tantrums that we marked at all this week. So that's been a beautiful thing. But I wanted to give an example of one of Bryce's tantrums, because I went to breakfast with one of my friends this morning. She's like, how's Bryce? And I'm like, oh, we had a good week with no tantrums. And she didn't really know what I mean by a tantrum.
Meltdown.
You know, and people think tantrum is like a 2-year-old that's laying on the floor, kicking their feet in a store. So, that's not what our definition of a tantrum is for Bryce. For Bryce, it would be one specific I know from 2 weeks ago. And while I'm saying this, babe, we need to write down what the tantrums were about. because I'm not going to remember it, and we need to be able to share that with Miss Amanda when she comes.
Okay.
But having said that, we'll do a little more detail to give us a clue. But this one I remember. Okay, so we have a car wash that's near us, and
yes,
and Bryce loves car washes.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So if you listen to past podcasts, that used to be a big reward for him. We don't go all the time now, but you went a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago on a Wednesday because you saved $2. So we're like, yeah, we'll go on a Wednesday. And Bryce actually is enjoying the car wash more, like he loves going through.
Well,
but
he's helping now.
He also likes to help and do the vacuuming part and not just stem while he watches the cars go through. So it was good. You went, you had a great experience, didn't think anything else of it. Now it's the following Wednesday. It is 8:00 at night, probably.
Yep.
It's dark out, and all of a sudden he's like, oh no, we forgot. We forgot what? We forgot to go to the car wash today. No, we didn't forget. That wasn't in the plans. But we forgot. It's Wednesday. No, we didn't say it.
I tried to explain to him that the truck was not dirty enough to go to the car wash.
Right, because you washed it the week before.
Yeah, and so that
none
of this
work.
was good enough. And so, I you had him with you that day. You were you at a Bible study?
I picked him up, but I had to bring him home for some reason. Why? I couldn't tell you why.
So anyway, you were out with him.
But there was no time to go to a car wash.
Right. But, I had a break from him because you had him and you guys came through the door.
You're right. We were at the Bible study. Okay. Yes.
So you guys came through the door, and that's kind of when he figured it out.
So it's 9:00 at night.
9:00 at night.
We walked in, and he never mentioned anything on the way there or on the way back. And we didn't pass it because we don't go that direction.
And then boom.
Boom. Oh, no, we forgot. So,
I said, fine. I said, you know what? I told him, I said, the car wash is closed. The gate is down. You cannot get in. I said, he says, well, what about the garage doors? I said, well, they're down and they're locked. Nobody can go in there. And so that didn't help at all. He just kept on it. And we know the point of no return. We just know
he was already in tears. It was not good.
It's not going to turn around easily.
No.
So I said, okay, buddy, let's go. And the black truck is right around the corner from our house. So it's no big deal. In the whole scheme of things, that was not a big deal. I said, come on, let's get in the black truck. And he, in his mind, he had to see that it was closed.
That's what it was.
So we went by there and I tried to pull in, but it was blocked by cones and the gate was down. I was like, see, there's nobody here, buddy. There's, the cones are there. And I said, you know what happens if we run over those cones? He's like, what, Daddy? I said, the black truck will go ka-clunk, ka-clunk, ka-clunk. And he started laughing, right?
Yeah.
And then he kind of went back to, we need to wash the car, So I'm like, all right, well, what else can we do? Burger King's right across the street. I'm like, maybe he's hungry. Maybe dinner wasn't enough. I said, would you like to go to Burger King? Yeah, I'd love to go to Burger King. So he didn't say I'd love to go to Burger King, but he's like, yeah. So
but he meant that.
We went there and we got him some food. And so on the way home, we joked about how the black truck would sound if it went over the cones, and it would be broken.
I think he told me that when you came in.
Yeah. So
and actually, Dad did it. He was okay after that, but he had to see it.
Yeah,
he had to see it.
And I was okay taking him. You just
gotta just kind of know when
you
to.
You just have to say, really, it's not going to inconvenience me much to do that, and it's going to mean the world to him, and just do it.
Yeah.
And
the next one, I really can't remember what it was about. I just remember him laying on the floor, and now he will say, I'm tired. I'm just going to go to sleep until I'm 100 and go to heaven. I'm just going to escape. He forms all those thoughts in his mind. Well, we've told him and we've convinced him, thank God, if he hurts himself, like where the poking of the eye and the banging of his ears or his head, it can't be fixed. So he's been trying to figure out new ways
to get our attention,
to hurt himself without really hurting himself. So he says ow a lot now, like a lot. Everything is ow. Like if he just barely bumped a flea, I think he would say ow, To
the kid that has the highest pain tolerance in the world.
So it's just like in his mind, he's just trying to process it all. I told you, hey, I'd much rather and he's not throwing himself to the floor hard. He'll just melt down to the floor. And then he lays on the floor and it's like he's just defeated laying there. It's kind of dramatic, but he's very quiet. And then he'll just whisper, I just can't, whatever it is that's bothering him. But it's okay. So he's learning how to regulate his emotions. He's learning how to deal with it. That's more appropriate than hurting himself, like really hurting himself. But obviously, that's not the end goal there. We want to get from that. So we had mentioned on the last podcast that, he does that boom, 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 where he hits stuff. And you heard him doing it in the shower. So that same day we were doing the podcast earlier, you had gone in and said, hey, listen, buddy, if you just say, Daddy, I need your help, you don't need to beat on things, okay? I'll come and I'll help you. And so as soon as you left, he said, Daddy, I need your help. And then you hurried and ran across the house because you couldn't hear him, and all that.
Yeah.
But what I want to point out is here we are 2 weeks later from that. And he has been asking me and asking you, I need your help.
Yeah.
I need your help.
Yes.
And he's been patiently saying it enough. I mean, if we're not like immediately there, but he'll still be, I need your help. Mommy, I need your help. I heard him with Missy this evening because we went out on our date night. And when we came back, I heard she was helping him change into his pajamas. And I heard him say, I need your help. And it just like really hit me. Like,
it really worked.
How great is this that he's not hitting? Before that would have been hitting out of frustration to make a loud sound to get our attention. But he's figured out using his words gets responses, and he's using his words.
Yeah.
So again, it could be a boomerang and he may hit something later and then go back to words, but that was really, really good. And that's something that has improved in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Yeah. It's like it really hit me tonight when I heard him asking her for help. I'm like, he's been asking me for help. I've heard him asking you for help. And he's figured that out, that asking for help with your words will actually get you help.
So much of it is just reminding them what they can do to get our attention instead of what they're doing to get our attention.
Right.
They just either they don't think about it, or I don't know what it is. You just, to you and me, logically, it would be, okay, I'm going to ask for help because he has words. He can ask us, but he doesn't think of that or whatever.
He thinks in a whole different way.
Needs to be reminded,
And then, I think in general, everybody has their own ways that they cry out for help, or ask for help. And not everybody uses their words, but that's usually people that are in hurting places. But for Bryce, I think it didn't click with him that if I say that, they'll actually respond. And it's probably was easier and faster to just hit. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because for him, it is an effort for him to have to think of the words that he wants to use sometimes. Like, so you were telling me that earlier today when he had his music therapy with Mr. Tom. He's a little distracted, and then Mr. Tom said something like,
he says, you can't talk while you're playing the piano, can you? He says, it's hard for you to do those two things together. And Bryce didn't answer, of course. And he says, okay, well, let's work on that together. I'll play the piano and we'll have a conversation, or we'll talk. And so he starts playing the piano, and Bryce didn't say anything. So he's like, "Yeah, are you having a hard time paying attention today?" And Bryce was just silent for a minute or two, and then all of a sudden he blurted out all these things that he was thinking about the whole time. Like anywhere from the last cartoon he watched to a game he was playing on his iPad. So he was thinking about all these other things while Mr. Tom was here, doing music therapy.
And that's my point. Like, he's got the ability, and it's all in there, but it truly takes effort on his part to go and grab those words. So what's easier? Hitting something to get attention,
making a noise,
than having
somehow.
to actually go and work and find those words.
Yeah.
That's come so easy for us. So, but he's doing it. I'm really, really proud of him.
Yeah.
So that was good. Did you have anything else?
I do.
Probiotic. Take
Yes.
it. Go.
Yes. So the scoop on poop.
Oh gosh.
So
That's pretty funny.
this should be you should put this in the title because it is such
I am
an
going to
important
reference
part
it.
of
I agree.
autism.
I agree.
So many of you know that, or may not know that the bowels are a key part of autism. Like most of the time when one of our kiddos has autism, they are super constipated and it's very hard for them to go. So, and they call the gut the second brain because it communicates with your brain and it has its own neurons. So they've discovered that it does communicate with the brain and it is like a second brain. So it's very important to have that system moving and going correctly. So Sandy and I, we've been giving Bryce supplements these years, since he's been, 2.5, right?
He's 2.5. I mean, he was 2.5. Yeah.
So
and we've tried a couple different.
Yeah. And
probiotics.
my philosophy is, he's on a few different things now. He's on fish oil, which helps your brain. He's on, a multivitamin, Simple Spectrum. He also takes vitamin D because he's deficient in vitamin D. And any of you parents out there, I encourage you to talk to your pediatrician if they understand autism and test for deficiencies.
That's what we did for Bryce, and it made a big difference.
And he's also taking a broccoli type sprout supplement. I can't remember the name of it offhand. And what else is he taking? I think that's it, right?
We've narrowed it down to that.
So we started out probiotic wise with Gut Pro. It's a really respected.
That was the powder, right?
Yeah, name and probiotics, and we tried that. Didn't really get results. Somewhere along the line, we got Bryce eating grapefruit for breakfast, which I thought was going to be a godsend for his system, his intestines. But good news is he's still eating grapefruit. Bad news is it didn't really help his bowels because grapefruit is supposed to be good for that. And then we tried another one recently. I forget what it was, but it was a little chewable one. So a lot of times I'll just swap things out because, maybe there's a sale on another one that's just as good, a different brand or whatever. And I don't mind switching brands, like a vitamin D supplement brand. I don't mind switching to a different, name or whatever. But I was...
Yeah, you switched his fish oil before too.
Yeah, it's fish oil. So it's cod liver oil for anybody that's interested in it. And Nordic Naturals, we give him right now. He's got a different kind, but in any case, I came across this article, a recent study that was done on the bowels and probiotics affecting the bowels. So there's different strains of probiotics. Like in yogurts, they have different strains of bacteria that are in yogurts that are good for your system. So just like probiotics, they have different strains of bacteria. And so I had done this research 2-3 years ago about the strains of bacteria that were best for autism. They had found one that seemed to help kids that were on the spectrum. And at the time I looked for it, but I couldn't find it. And if I did find it, I don't think it was like in a reputable brand that you could like trust, So I really didn't go there. I just picked a different probiotic to put them on, just thinking that it would help somehow, but
Sure.
They never really did. So this new study popped up from 2020, and it just reminded me about the strains of bacteria that were helping kids, and the study confirmed that, there was a couple of strains that I can't think of offhand that were helping kids. But anyway, so that reignited my search for that probiotic. And lo and behold, brand name company was making this, and it's from Claire Labs. Claire starts with a K, and we'll put this in the show notes. I'll give you the link to Amazon. Claire Labs, it's called the Vital 10, and it's 10 different strains of probiotics, bacteria, and we started giving it to Bryce, and a few days later he had a bowel movement, and I'm like, oh, let me go look, because I want to see if it's easier for him to go now.
Right.
And sure enough, it was in the normal. If you go online, you can just Google bowel chart, and it'll show you the different pictures of poops and what's supposed to be normal. I mean,
we have been to a poop specialist, and we got educated.
You're probably doing this stuff. So
it's fun.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So,
and then you asked him. You said, "Was that easy?
Was that easier
or hard?" And he said, "It was easy.
It was easy." And I was like, "Oh, yes." So, we waited, we kept giving it to him. I said, I just need to make sure that this stuff is working before I mention it on the podcast.
Right.
Because
you were happy, but you're like, I need a little more time to make sure. So now we're 3 weeks in.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I've went in and I've seen several more, and they're all normal, and hallelujah. Whether or not it has an effect on his moods or his smartness or whatever, I cannot tell you that.
It's all about the poop.
Right.
I mean, really, this is all about keeping him regulated and moving.
Yes. All I know is that it worked and that we're going to stay on this.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you, it's not cheap. I want to say it's $40 for a bottle of this stuff, but it worked for us. And if you're struggling trying to find a probiotic that will work for your kiddo, I highly recommend this. And we don't have any stock in this company.
No.
They're not sponsoring us in any way. It's just the one that
it's worked for Bryce.
That worked
and we
for
know every
Bryce.
child's different.
I'm so thankful. That's the one supplement that we've been trying to get that will help him.
Yeah, it's one area that we've known that he needed improvement with, because it was getting worse. Like, you'd have your good times and the bad, but more difficult and struggles. And then it was to the point that he was getting hemorrhoids, and, we were seeing blood.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not cool.
Right.
When
it comes out like rocks,
it's not good.
Yeah.
And he would say, it's hard. This is hard, hard for him.
Mm-hmm.
So now that he's saying, no, it's easy, we're like, yay.
So that's a victory.
That's good stuff. Very good.
I can share a couple more things from the autism conference.
You got, how many you got?
Just a couple.
Okay, why don't you take one? I'll share one thing, and then you can wrap with yours.
Okay.
And then we'll go, because I just got one big thing.
Well, these
today.
are quickies. So,
okay, good.
One of the speakers had autism that was presenting at the conference, and he said, for the older kids that may go to college, it was super helpful for him to get like apprenticeships into different businesses before he chose his college major, or coming out of college. It just helped him learn what he liked, So any chance that you can get to get your kid into things that they're interested in. Like a couple years ago, we got Bryce into a bulldozer at a construction site, I mean, he's only a handful of years old, but we were going on what he was excited about at the time, and now he's got that experience and he can remember doing that, so, and like when we went to the racetrack, he has that experience now, not necessarily working behind the scenes, but that environment, I guess you could
I was
say.
going to say, you feed the interest, which we've always tried to do. And we had this opportunity to go to the Daytona Speedway and be inside the Speedway, like inside the track. And they did have some races. I think it was more practices that they were doing, correct? So, but he got to see the cars going around. But he also got to go and see where they were working on the cars and see the mechanics working on them and replacing tires. And
asking questions.
Oh, he got to ask all kinds of questions. And the guys that waved the flags, we were walking by them and they were on the other side of the fence, but Bryce wanted to know what every flag meant. And so he was asking them what each color meant, you know, when they were waving it. And he got those questions answered. And then we were watching the race and he looked at me and he says, "Mommy, I want to be a race car driver and an astronaut." I said, "Okay, buddy." You know, like it excites him. And do I really want him to be a race car driver? No. But do I want him to enjoy this and get exposure? Absolutely. He's 7, you know, so it's good. And then I think as he continues to get older, we will see what his interests are. In fact, he has discovered different sports on his iPad.
Like tennis and baseball.
And soccer. And he's been playing several. So we got him another basketball to go with his hoop, one that's more age appropriate for him. Now that he's really showing an interest, you got the baseball glove so you guys can start throwing the ball. And we got the T-ball for the backyard. And the soccer ball we already have, but we're going out and kicking the ball with him. We're going to take him to the tennis court with us. So, you know, we just really try to feed those interests.
Yeah. So I was, you know, Bryce is 7 now, and this is like my first opportunity to really throw a ball to him like a baseball, you know, with a glove. And, you know, typical kids' parents, they get to do that a lot earlier than this. So I'm just very thankful that I'm able to do that now, and he's excited about it.
Yeah, he has interest.
It helps him with his motor skills.
Yeah, so many good things. And it gets him out of the house.
Oh, yeah.
It gets him off electronics.
Yeah.
You know, and then he can have his time to go back on those, and that's fine. But we want him to have, like, real life experiences, too.
Like
and so it's been really, really good. Yeah.
So I don't know where we kind of
Well, you're talking about... feeding the interest, you know, and definitely like the more you can introduce your child to things to try to figure out a career.
I think another thing that he mentioned that he wished he had more of was teaching on how to make friends and, more importantly, how to keep friends. And so I know from our experience with our nephew, a lot of times, you know, he's on the spectrum. So a lot of times he doesn't respond to a text. He doesn't return calls. He just has a hard time with certain things, which would indicate to a typical person that, hey, you're not interested in talking to me, you know, but that's not the case.
Right.
It's just he struggles in that area. So, you know, make sure we teach our kids that, you know, how to make friends and, more importantly, how to keep friends. You know, call your friend or make a play date, because Bryce doesn't ask us to make play dates with his friends, but he loves to play with them, you know.
We had his little
he just doesn't think to
best buddy over today,
that.
And he was so excited, you know. And so we're like, nope, we're going to, and I'm definitely on the mission to continue to do that more and more.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that kind of leads into mine. Is that cool?
Sure.
Okay, so after we talked last time, we were talking about social and his goals for ABA. And with us being his techs now, I feel like his ABA techs, I should say, I feel like I got to do more research. So I'm like, social cues. We were talking about that. And I found this really great article that someone had written, and it's like 8 ways to help your grade schooler learn social cues. So it wasn't even written with autism in mind, but there are some great things. Now, bear with me, honey, because you're going to hear me rustling papers, and I know that makes you crazy.
It's okay. It really is.
I wanted to warn you there. Okay, so the first one is practice making eye contact. Well, that's already like a number one thing on Bryce's ABA plan, and that's what I even have on the refrigerator. We're really trying to work with him on greeting people, to acknowledge them when he sees them, to say hi, to respond if somebody says hi to him, to say hi back, maybe follow up with a how are you, or how was your day, or, something, and to try to make that eye contact. Because most people think if you're not looking at them, that you're either not listening to them
or you don't care,
or you're not interested. Yeah. So, being able to make contact, but it also will help him learn how to read people and to read social cues. Because if he's not looking at their face, he doesn't know what expression they're giving him, whether they're happy, whether they're sad, whether they're annoyed, whether they're tired, whatever. He has to be able to learn to look at faces. So that is definitely something we're working on, but that's the number one for social cue purposes. And then encourage attention. So if we give Bryce our full attention, he will learn to give other people his full attention. And that really rang a bell with me, because how many times do we not stop and look at him when he's asking us something? We're continuing to do whatever we're doing.
Trying to help.
Trying
to
to keep on. Exactly. Trying to finish what I'm doing while he's asking me something, or not, responding and talking and not looking at him, so he can't even see my face.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, that's so true. And how are we supposed to help him understand how to give somebody else
if we're not doing it ourselves?
If we're not doing it to give attention. So, that was a good lesson for me, really. And I am trying to do that more, like really stop and look at him. And then observe his expression. So observe your child's expression. So, help him understand what he's expressing. So I'm trying to point that out to him more. How are you feeling? Oh, are you upset? Are you happy? Are you tired? Like right now, bless his little heart, he's getting a cold. Yeah. So I'm sure we're going to be asking him, how are you feeling? Do you feel sick? Do you feel tired? But what his expression is, I want to point out to him, I see you're not smiling. Are you upset? Or I've been saying to him, I see that smile of yours. Does that mean you're happy? Because if I point out to him why I think he's happy, it's going to register with him that, if I see somebody smiling, they're happy. And I know that can be confusing, because crying can be happy tears or sad tears. And hey, we all can get confused with that. But for the most part, if we look at his face and help him understand what he's expressing, it will help him learn to recognize that in other people.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm flipping.
Flipping out?
I am flipping out.
Well, I'll go over one of mine.
Flipping out because, yeah, go ahead. Okay. I'll come back.
All right. So, like we were saying, life experiences can be the best therapy. It can be good for them for finding a job, just going through different life experiences. So he also pointed out, again, this is an older gentleman with autism. I'd say he was in his early 20s, but show them how to write resumes, how to interview, and more importantly, how to keep their job once they get a job. Just things that we take for granted when we get a job, that we do at the job. Sometimes they don't know, appropriate things to do at the workplace to keep your job, what's appropriate and what's not appropriate.
True.
Also daily living skills, cleaning, laundry, cooking, driving skills, soft skills, communication skills, all of those skills that we may take for granted are just very difficult for kids on the spectrum. I know cooking's difficult for a lot of people, but
myself included.
Yeah, but daily living, like how to clean something. You get the spray bottle and you spray the countertop and then you wipe it down. That something as simple as that. They might see us doing it, but they don't comprehend maybe what we're doing or how we're doing it or why we're doing it. Yeah. So.
Very good. Okay. So back to my social cues.
Yeah.
Reading body language. That's a big one. It's not just reading the face, but reading the body language, which we mentioned last time.
Yeah.
So I found this, and it said playing charades can be a fun way to get kids thinking about how you communicate through your bodies. So I actually created like a bingo style emotion charade game. And I'm going to try it with Bryce, but I've got I don't know how many's on there. 24 different things that he can act out, or we can act out, but that he could understand. And some of them's with your face, but some of them's with your body, like sad, excited, tired, sneaky, embarrassed. I can't read. Impatient, frustrated, nervous, and the list goes on. So I put these all together. I figure we'll do it like bingo style. So if we get him right, then he can put like a little coin on, chip on there and feel like he's playing a game too, or get 5 in a row. But I'm excited to play that with him. And I want to do it with his friends too, but us to do it with him to just kind of learn how to read body language. And if it goes over well, then I'll share it on the page.
Yeah.
As a resource for people to use.
Yeah, download.
Yeah. And another thing that I'm working on from reading this list, it says practice inflections, like with the voices. So I've gone through our bookshelf and I have found books that have a lot of pictures with different emotions on the faces and the body language. And so I've been reading that with him and then asking him, how are they feeling? What do you think they're feeling there? It's not just in the words, but him seeing it.
And we're working on that right now in school also with punctuation. So we're working on exclamation points. So he's learning that when you read that sentence, you need to sound excited,
yes,
that type of thing. So that kind of goes along with that.
It does, because it's the inflections. And like when I'm reading the story with him, I'm somewhat animated, but I want him to understand that excitement and to see that and work with him on that. And also, reading social cues, he needs to understand pitch and tone. And so I haven't worked with him on that yet, but that's something I want to specifically to show him how you can say the same sentence. If I say it this way, how do you think I feel? If I say it this way, how do you think I feel?
Yeah.
Whether it's happy, whether it's angry, whether it's frustrated, I want him to learn those things.
What you're saying is exactly what these kids on the spectrum at the conference are saying, typical kids pick up on those cues.
Yeah.
But kids on the spectrum don't, and these types of things have to be explained to them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I'm hearing that, I'm recognizing that, and we'll just work with them on it. We'll do the best we can.
All right, I think that's enough in one episode. What do you think?
I think we've given a lot of information.
Yeah.
I know my throat's a little raspy, so I'm ready to wrap this up.
So this is episode 58. We'll be announcing our winner of the giveaway on episode 59. So be sure to go over to our Facebook page and click on going to the event to be entered into our giveaway.
And if anybody else feels led to leave a review, we always appreciate that.
Yeah,
and we'll be happy to read it on the podcast.
All right. Till next time. Good luck, everybody.
Okay. Have a great week.
Bye.